Hello students, today we're going to begin learning how to do skin tones. We're going to do a quick little introduction to skin tones, and I'm going to add one more degree darker with a indigo blue undertone to the darker spectrum of skin tones. So I have 5 little boxes drawn here. They're pretty small, they're less than an inch, about ½ an inch, maybe a little more. Now you're going to need your Prismacolor 12 set. It's very important to have your Prismacolor 12 set, but in addition to that we have some other requirements that you need, and that is the Tuscan red, which is PC 937, and then you're going to need your indigo blue, which is PC 901. Okay, so we've got 2 different browns here that come with the set, the PC 946. We've got PC 945. These are essential for shading skin tones. If you don't have your Tuscan red, we might be able to achieve by mixing these 2 colors, the PC 946 and 924, the red and the dark brown. Now you're going to need a white, a yellow, and an orange. Okay, so these all the color with the 12 set, but in addition to the 12 set, the Tuscan red and the indigo blue. Okay, so for the darkest skin tone, I'm going to blend indigo blue tone in. Now remember to have a very well sharpened pencil and to shade in a circular motion to create a nice smooth skin surface. So, you know, if we get a little streaky, you know, we can add some textures towards the top, but for the most part we want this to be a nice smooth even blend. Another thing is with skin surfaces, you know, they're smooth, so when we shade in a small circular motion we can get smooth surface. So another important fact about drawing with color pencil is less is more. You're not pressing hard like it's a Crayola. You know, you're not coloring, you're shading. And Prismacolor takes 3 to 5 layers to really, I mean, you can go more than that. It's just every layer has to be thin and transparent. This one's getting a little thick. But you want to keep it as smooth as possible. Try and have neat craftsmanship and stay inside your box. And think of this as a skin tone study. Okay, so my next layer, I'm going to do a very, very thin layer of indigo. Now, with color pencil, we'll usually take away black and replace it with the indigo for several reasons. And one of them is black just can smudge a lot and is a really dark, powerful pigment. Not as naturally occurring as things that have more blues or browns in them. So these are just little skin tone thumbnails. Don't need to be too big. Alright, so we're going to pull some warmth in here with the sienna brown. So I started a layer with the Tuscan red, and then I did a thin layer of the indigo blue, and now I'm doing a thin layer of the sienna brown, which is PC 945. Try and get a little bit closer here and see if y'all can get a better look at this, because it gets a little distorted with this camera. Okay, so going to sharpen my next brown. Now I'm going to add a layer of the PC 946. This is your dark brown. So the smaller, you shade your little circles, the more well blended this will be. The sharper your pencil, the more powerful it is to push those little tiny layers around and blend them together. So if we do a comparison, this one is a little bit darker, and we're not quite done with the top layer yet. You can, if you want to go a little bit darker, add a little bit more indigo to it. If you wanted to pull more warmth out of it, you could add more Tuscan or sienna. I am a little bit curious. I am going to add just a little bit of indigo to this one to see how dark I can make it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and lay out my order here. I did a layer of Tuscan, and I'll put the little codes next to it. Maybe we'll go thicker with our layer of indigo. Sienna, and then our umber, dark brown. Okay, so for this one, it's PC. This is for your notes. Okay, so that is our darkest shade. Now we're going to do our second darkest shade, which is this one right here on the left. I do believe I created all 4 of these with just the 12 set to accommodate those of you that might not have been able to get your additional colors. So if that is something that is helpful for you guys, none of these have the indigo or the Tuscan as they should. So it was a little bit harder to do them that way, but it's not impossible. So as just like a foundation for most skin tones, the Tuscan red usually is the first layer, so that's just something that you need to be aware of. Okay, so that is our first layer. I'm going to do a little bit of sienna warmth. So I put these two next to each other so you can see one way to do them with the 12 set, and then an additional way to get similar skin tones. We're just going from darkest to lightest, just like this chart. But there's a wide variety of skin tones out there. Ultimately, when you start drawing parts, you're going to pick your own or your favorite skin tone. Just going to add a tiny bit of orange to this. I noticed the camera is very sensitive to orange and yellow, so I'm going to be very careful. So go ahead and mark which ones I've used. Okay. So that is our second darkest skin tone. Now I'm going to go slightly lighter to this one right here. And I'm going to do a very thin layer of Tuscan red for this one. Very thin layer of orange. This is the sienna brown. You could put a little layer of yellow in this one, depending on skin tones. Scoot this over now. I'll go ahead and mark my color order here. And a little bit heavier with the sienna on this layer. So your skin tones may vary a little bit, and that's totally fine. Like looking at this one kind of needs to be softened a little on the top, but I think it's just the camera. So I'll put a little bit of the umber on top of this one. Maybe just a little bit of umber on top of this one. So I'm going to sharpen my white pencil. I don't want to add too much white to this one. It looks like it needs a little bit more orange. I did use the orange as the base on my other palette. And as we go lighter with these skin tones, you will be blending a little bit of white into them. Oops, my white broke. Okay, so we're gonna go a little bit lighter in tone on the next batch. So you can put your, let's see, umber, and then I will make a blank box for the white. So we can review PC 938, PC 946, PC 945, PC 918, and then the Tuscan red is PC 937. Okay, so on this next tone, I'm going to put an extremely light layer of yellow. It looks like it's a little heavy, actually. The yellow is very bright. If it doesn't work out, we can learn from our mistakes and take it off. All of this is an experiment, really. It's very difficult to see if I've placed this yellow on evenly. It's extremely light in value. It looks very fluorescent on the camera. Okay, so next I'm going to add a nice little layer of orange. Some trouble getting some dark spots in here. I need to sharpen my orange a little bit. If you have some uneven spots, take them off. It's not worth having streaky skin tone. My issue is that my pencil's not sharpened all the way, so I'm going to do that right now. Having a... Oh my gosh, my eraser's dirty. I stained my palette. We're going to have to work with that. you can hatch your way there if you like. Okay, so we have not added any Tuscan red to this, which would be a good idea. So I did yellow and then I did orange. Just very softly. Pencil is damaged. If your Prisma keeps breaking like that, the trick is to put it in the microwave for 2 seconds, depending on how powerful your microwave is. So I might either have to go get another Prisma or put it in the microwave. So this is a great way to show you that if your base layers are not even, you end up with a little bit of streaks. For the most part, outside of the camera, this is the tone that I was going for, but it does look very red and yellow on the camera. So if I'm going to try and fix that for you folks at home. I just hatched orange and the warm sienna over the top to even out the texture, because a little bit of that erasing I did earlier took off some valuable layers that we needed to make this skin tone. Okay, so we're going to go slightly lighter and try and capture a lighter skin tone. I will upload a photo of this to Schoology so that you can see what they actually look like. The camera does warp them a little bit, so if you pull up the photo that I upload, I think that'll help you out quite a bit, just in comparisons, because we didn't mark our progress here. So we've got yellow as our base here, and then in order to do this correctly the first time, a nice even layer of yellow, a nice even layer of orange, and then you could go ahead and put in the sienna brown or the Tuscan red, as long as you're careful with them. And then of course the white. Okay, so this is going to be a very fair tone. And if you're having trouble with the edges, I keep ignoring my edges. can put a little card there. Get nice edges like that. Okay, nice thin layer of Tuscan red. And a very thin layer of the orange. Okay, so we have the orange is our second layer of sienna brown. And you could put a little bit of yellow in here, but it's very sensitive to yellow. Okay, so I will take a picture of that and upload it for you guys so you can use it as a comparison on your chart. These are the 5 skin tones that you can experiment with ranges between them in order to accomplish what tones you need. This one does look really yellow on the camera, but it's not in person, so you guys will see when I upload it. Okay, so make sure you take your notes and you know which color blends that you've used, and you take a photo of your skin tones and upload it to Schoology.